Hi everyone, this is Robin and I am going to walk you through the syllabus. So as you know, this is OLP 4407 5507 Instructional Technologies in HRD. So at the top of the first page of the syllabus, you have my name, my contact information, and just as a reminder, the very best way to reach me is by email. I am often not in my office, so that's a terrible way to try to reach me. Our program assistant, Krista, here's her information, her email, and her phone number. She is often in her office, so that's a good place to get a hold of her. And then over on the right here, you see my LinkedIn and Twitter information, which we're actually going to use in this class. Next, I have a section on office hours. Because it's the summer, I am not having any set office hours, but you can, of course, email me and set up an individual appointment. I'm always happy to meet in person if we both happen to be in Pocatello, but certainly by phone or by Zoom video conference. The other thing is, depending on the interest of the class, I'm considering having an optional Zoom video for maybe 4 of the 6 weeks, just as a way for us to touch base, to say hi to each other, to ask questions if you have questions, and for me to maybe show you some even more technologies than what we're learning in class. There is no required textbook for this class. There are things that you need to read, but those will be provided on Moodle. So when we get to the prerequisites, basically what this is saying is that this is a course that has individual assignments, and there are some things that we will be collaborating on. Not group projects, but just doing some collaboration together. So in order to do that, here's what you need to have to be successful in this class. You need to have a working understanding of basic technologies, the internet, email, Moodle, that sort of thing. Second bullet, you need to have a willingness to engage in the class and the activities. We are going to be learning a lot of things at a fast pace because it's just a 6-week class. So you need to be willing to jump in and play around and try out new things. It's kind of going to be Techapalooza this summer. So there's going to be a lot of technologies that you're going to be exposed to, and try to figure out how you can use this to help yourself learn, to help other people learn. The third bullet, you need to have willingness to collaborate. And of course, finally, I already sort of mentioned this, you need to have an openness to try and experience new technologies. All right, let's move to the next page. So the course description. This course will focus on the use of technologies to enable and support learning development in employees, students, and yourself through the creation of a professional learning network, or as we're going to refer to it, a PLN. So a PLN is something that is going to allow you as an individual to continue to develop through this class and then beyond this class. So a PLN is a collection of resources that lets you continue to learn. And that really is going to be part of the backbone of this class. Part of what we're going to be learning in this class is how you can use technology to corral some of those resources that can help you learn on an ongoing basis, and to make it easy and efficient for you to take advantage of those resources. But we're really looking at technology from, I would say, 3 angles. One angle is, how can I use technology in PLN to help me continue to learn? But because most of us are in positions where we currently or in the future will be working with other people, we, specifically adults, we also want to think about how can we use these technologies to help other people learn. And then the third is, how can we put these technologies in the hands of other people to help them learn. So we're really going to be, throughout the whole semester, taking those 3 views. How can it help me learn? How can I use it to help other people learn? And how can I put it in the hands of other people so that they can help themselves learn? So you'll see the three bullets here. There's really three threads that sort of weave through the semester. The first is an exposure to a range of technologies that enable and support learning. The second is a little bit of theory, not much. This summer, as you know, 6-week class, we're going to be light on the theory and heavier on the application. And then number three, of course, you're going to create your own PLN. So in terms of objectives for this semester, you can see that at the end of this class, you will have number one, demonstrated your expertise on specific technologies that can be used to enable and support learning. Number two, you're going to be able to describe the effective use of a bunch of technologies, and you're going to be able to describe that in those three views that I mentioned for yourself, for students, and for employees. Number three, you're going to collaborate with classmates on learning, including the creation of an ebook. So in a little bit, we're going to talk about assignments, and one of your assignments is to learn a piece of technology and to write a paper on it. And what I'm going to do is collect those papers into a PDF document so that you have an ebook that has the technologies that everyone in class wrote about. Number four, you're going to be able to describe how a PLN is created, nurtured, and supports lifelong learning. And in fact, number five, you're going to create and engage in your own PLN. And then finally, you're going to be able to, at a surface level, describe copyright implications for the use of existing materials. And one of the reasons that we're talking about copyright in this class is because just because you can copy something from the internet doesn't mean that you actually have permission to use it and to copy it off the internet. So we want to make sure that we are reasonably clear on that and that we are using any resources and assets that we find on the internet in the way that the creator intended them to be used. Learning activities, we're going to do a lot of stuff, but the majority of what we're going to be doing this summer is getting our hands dirty. And so we'll have a little bit of theory, we'll have a little bit of reading, we will have a lot of here's some technology, I want you to get in and play around with it and see what you think. And I really do mean see what you think. Every piece of technology is not useful for every person or in every situation. And so what we're going to be doing in this class is really, it's a survey class. We're going to be getting an exposure to a range of technologies so that you know what the choices are and can then choose the technology that makes the most sense for whatever it is you're trying to learn yourself or help other people learn. One thing that I do want to highlight, this is not a class on e-learning. So we are not in this class going to be covering how do you create e-learning, put it online so that people can learn it, take that course on their own. We do have classes here that teach e-learning, but this is not that class. So this class is really focused on what are those smaller pieces of technology that we can integrate into the teaching that we're already doing in order to make it even more effective, or that we can use ourselves in order to make our learning even more effective. All right, let's go to the next page. So here are the course requirements. So you'll see that you are going to be blogging this semester. So most of our classes in Moodle have you in discussion boards. So you post on the discussion and you reply to each other. And because this is a class on instructional technologies, we are going to not be doing the discussion boards in Moodle. We are instead going to be blogging. Why are we blogging? For two reasons. One reason, because it gives you some experience with blogging. So if you have no experience, it will give you experience. If you have some experience, it'll give you even more experience about blogging. But blogging, you'll find, is a great way not only to communicate information, but it's a great way to help you think through and process what you're learning. And because we are learning at such a fast pace this summer, that kind of processing time is really going to be useful, I think, for all of you. So you'll see that the blog posts are worth 4 points each, and that you will be making 2 blog posts each week for 5 weeks. So blog posts are worth a total of 40 points. Your blog posts are you're going to post on Tuesdays and on Thursdays, and you are going to respond to the blog posts of at least one of your peers by the end of the week, so by Sunday. But I think what you're going to find is the blog posts are so interesting and such another rich way of learning things and thinking through things that you are going to be engaging and responding to more than just the one minimum. So here on the next one, you'll see blog comments. As I said, you're going to do it once a week. They're worth 2 points each for 5 weeks, so a total of 10 points. Now you do have two smaller assignments that you are going to be turning in for grading. So one is a quiz on copyright and the other is an instructional handout. Part of what we're going to be learning in this class is how to edit graphics and images and incorporate those in handouts, because instructional handouts are something that a lot of us make regardless of what our current position is. In addition, you'll see I have miscellaneous weekly activities discretionary points. So we're going to have some miscellaneous things that we're doing that are not assignments that you're turning in for points, but things that we're going to be collaborating on. And so I will award 10 points if you do those. Or I guess another way to say it is if you're not doing those, you won't get these 10 points. So as long as you're doing everything that we're supposed to do every week, you're going to get those 10 points. And then finally, you see one of our big assignments is your technology tool ebook individual paper. And when you look in the assignment sheets for this semester, which are on the main Moodle page, when you look at the assignment sheets, you'll see that I have a template for the ebook. So I have laid it out with subheadings. You have to fill in the content, but I've done the subheadings so that we can each have similarly structured papers for when we pull it all together in our ebook. Now, graduate students, you have an extra assignment. You have an annotated bibliography that you need to turn in. So that it's not an instructor approved collaborative assignment. It's just an annotated bibliography based on 4 journal articles. And then there is an optional bonus assignment. If you want to do an extra individual technology paper, so if you want to do an individual technology paper on a second technology tool, you're welcome to do that. It's worth 15 bonus points. All right, so there are, as I mentioned, assignment sheets for each of these assignments. So for blogging, for blog comments, for the, well, not on the quiz, for the instructional handout, and for the technology tool individual paper and the annotated bibliography for the grad students. There's assignment sheets on all those, so you can go in and read those right now. All right, let's go to the next page. So the next page has an overview of the main assignments. I've already talked about these, so I'm not going to talk about them again, but go in and read the assignment sheets and it will be much more clear to you. So, I'm going to go back for a minute here. I do want to talk about, so we have a total, for undergraduates, a total of 100 points. And I wanted to point that out because you can see that blog posts and blog comments are worth 50 points. So blog posts and blog comments are worth half of your grade this semester. And I wanted to mention that just to really underscore how important blog posts and blog comments are to your learning this semester. They're that important to your learning that they are worth half of the points for this semester. Another way to think about that is if you don't do your blog posts, you're not going to be successful in this class. All right, let's go on to the next page. So we already talked about that. Course grading, you can see the percentages here for the various grades. And just as a reminder, if you are in the WTL or the MSHRD program, you need to have a C- or above in order to pass this class and have it count towards your degree. All right, let's keep going. A couple of miscellaneous dates here. Last date to drop classes, last date to W classes, and the last day of the semester, which is Friday, June 21st. So here is a tentative course outline. So the tentative course outline, you can see for each of the 6 weeks what it is that we're going to be talking about tentatively. We might change it up a little bit depending on what everybody's interested in learning. And then you'll see where these more major assignments are due. So the first couple weeks, there are no assignments that are due that you're turning in to me, but we will be starting on our blogging. But we do on week 3 have a copyright quiz that, as you remember, is worth 5 points. You will, at the end of week 4, turn in your instructional handout. At the end of week 5, you will turn in your individual technology tool paper that will be combined into our ebook. And then grad students, your annotated bibliography is due at the end of week 6, which is on Friday. So the last week of the semester always ends on a Friday. And then, as I mentioned, I'm thinking of having optional video conference meetings depending on if people are interested in that, but they will be optional. All right, let's keep going. So on this page, I have several assumptions that I bring to every class, and I thought it would be useful for you to know what some of those assumptions are. So I'm not going to read these. You can read these on your own. I think they are pretty clear, but it just gives you a little bit of context to understand how I approach classes and why I have the expectations of you that I have. One that I do want to highlight is this second to the last bullet, which is I believe that all of you have full and busy lives, and that your education in this class is not the only thing to which you have obligated your time. But by choosing to take this class in the summer, you have agreed to actively participate and to spend the time that's necessary. And again, just, I don't want to keep, beating this drum, but semester classes are more compressed than regular classes. And so they require more time each week than a regular semester-long class. All right, let's keep going. So here are my expectations of you, and I do want to go over these. So my expectation is that you're going to complete all the readings, all the blog posts, all the activities, all the assignments on time and to a level of quality that is appropriate for undergraduates and for graduate students. So again, I want you to be successful and to learn what you need to learn, but in order to learn what you need to learn, you have to be participating. Number 2, expect that you'll engage in active discussions in the class content via your blog and the blog posts of your classmates. So as I mentioned earlier, you will be making 2 blog posts each week, and you will be responding or commenting on the blog posts of at least one of your classmates this week. But getting a dialogue going on the blog really is useful. And when I've taught this class before, what I have found is much richer discussions on the blog than we sometimes find in the discussion boards. Bullet 3 here, actively participate in the course. I think I've talked about that enough. And then, of course, academic honesty is expected. You will do your own work in this class and won't take credit for the work of others. All right, so those are my expectations of you. But I also think it's reasonable for you to have expectations of me. So I have started a couple expectations that I think are reasonable for you to have for me. So one expectation is that I will be available for questions and guidance. So if you need help, if you need questions answered, if you need guidance on your assignments or anything that you're working on this semester, I'm available via email, via phone, although again, my office phone is not the best way to do it, and via video conferencing. And I will also check my Ask Dr. Robin forum on our Moodle course once a day, Monday through Friday. And as it says here, I'm often online on the weekends, but you can't count on it. So if you need help, please be sure to reach out to me Monday through Friday. Another expectation that I think is reasonable is that I will grade assignments and provide feedback in a timely manner. So my goal is to get grading done by the end of the week. It's not always realistic for me to do that, but that is my goal, and I will do my best to get it done. And then the third thing that I think is a reasonable expectation for you to have of me is that as much as possible, I will tweak the course to address specific content and areas of interest to all of you. As I mentioned earlier, there's only 11 of us in the class, so I'm not going to, chuck out any of the content that I was planning to do, but we certainly can tweak things up, and I can add information and resources for things that people are interested in that I wasn't planning to cover. So those are expectations that I think is reasonable for you to have of me. Now, as you probably already saw in the Getting Started section of the course, we're going to do an exercise on these expectations because this isn't only my class. This is also your class. So it's not just about my expectations, it's also about your expectations. So you're going to do an exercise where you're going to be able to add to what your expectations are of me. Like I said, I put down 3 that I think are reasonable, but I assume you have some more expectations or may have some more expectations of me. And then also, I want you to add your expectations of yourself and your expectations of each other. So you'll see in the framework for this week that I have created a Google Doc, which if you're not familiar with Google Docs, it's like Microsoft Word, except for it lives in the cloud. And we all can contribute to the same document. So I have put these 4 categories: my expectations of you, your expectations of me, your expectations of yourself, and your expectations of each other. I've put that in a Google document, and you can go in and add your thoughts to this as well. And then at the end of the week, I will see what we came up with. I'll try to organize and consolidate them a little bit, and then I will add them to this to the syllabus. It might not be possible for all of those expectations to be met, but I will take them all seriously, and I will include all the expectations that are doable, and I will let you know about any that I don't include. All right, let's keep going. Now we get to the policy part of the syllabus. So policy for written materials, blog posts, comments, and social media. So I'll let you read this on your own, but basically what it says is that you need to, in all of your writing, whether it's a blog post or your paper, you need to have, it needs to be organized and have a logical development. It needs to have clarity. You need to use proper grammar, punctuation, and spelling. So even if you're writing in a blog, it's still a college class. You still want to make sure you're writing in a way that is clear and appropriate for a college class. In your papers, I will give you some guidance, but essentially you're going to be following APA style, which means 12-point Times Roman, no space between, no blank line between paragraphs, 1-inch margins, etc., etc. Graduate students, you're going to be using APA style not only for papers, but for your annotated bibliographies. And I have several resources available on the annotated bibliography assignment sheet. All right, let's keep going. No late work. And the reason for no late work, besides no late work, is in a 6-week semester, there just isn't time to get behind. So we will all keep up each week and get to the finish line together. Reasonable accommodation for students with disabilities. If you believe that you have a disability, you want to go ahead and contact the ISU Center of Services for Students with Disabilities, and I have their phone number here. They will have a talk with you about that, and then they will let me know what kind of accommodation needs to be made for you in the class. Academic honesty, we mentioned earlier, I have an expectation around academic honesty. There's 2 sides to academic honesty. The first is plagiarism and the second is original work. So plagiarism means don't take credit for other people's work or words, and the original work policy means you need to do new, fresh work for this class. You need to not recycle work from other classes, which won't be an issue in this class. So you can read those at your leisure. And then finally, last but not least, is the statement for our veteran and active duty military students. So if you are a veteran or active duty in the reserves, or a spouse or a dependent of someone who is a veteran or active duty or in the reserves, and it makes it difficult for you to fulfill the requirements of the course, let me know and I will work with you on that. We also have a Veteran Student Service Center, which I encourage you to connect with, not only to help you if you have some challenges with this class, but just to help you in general. It's a great resource for veterans and active duty military. So that is the syllabus in great and gory detail. If you have questions on any of this, let me know. Otherwise, I will see you online.